You were talking about easy, and then you said spend 100,000 and I could have bought a worthless piece of property. So it sounds like the process is easy. Once I read a statute, it's the statute, right, Rachel? It's not going to change tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of get that part, but there's going to be some risk. And so that's where my work comes in, understanding the due diligence on researching the property, the type of investment, what my return is, what makes sense, what I can bid at, and then taking into account that I'm not the only person standing out there trying to get that property or online trying to get that property. There's 1,000+ other people doing the same thing. And if I found a gem, so did another 100 people find a gem. And so what is their willingness to invest into that gem versus my willingness? Then it becomes a bidding war, but the reality is it's a risk ratio measurement. It's understanding what the risk is on the property and how much you're willing to put into. Is that about right? Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm doing this quick, really. I'm not really normally a person that uses analogies, but if you're an art dealer or an art investor and you go into an art, auction and you know nothing about the artists that are being auctioned off, I mean, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. So doing that research and that due diligence, I mean, that's a term that you'll hear us say over and over and over again. It gets old, but we are such firm believers in that due diligence, because if you don't do your due diligence and you don't have the research behind that, it is so easy to get, as Brian mentioned, I mean, the counties don't really care what you're buying. They're just glad you're there to buy. And it's not that the counties don't necessarily care. It's just that they're like, yay, they're there to balance their budgets. That's what they're there to do. That's why they're offering the tax sale. And, if you're not, and a lot of those properties will stay on the tax rolls delinquent for a long time because, no one's caring about them. And if you haven't done your research, you can easily get stuck with them. There's a great story of a guy who thought he had found himself a treasure in Florida, and it was literally the mailbox, like a little square, and the mailbox only was on that square.
No way.
Yeah. And so, and it's like, it's those stories, like, had he simply, and I say he, because I mean, there's a whole story out there that we use as an example, but, had he simply looked at the parcel mapping, and saw how, because you can pretty easily point those, through geometry, he would have seen that it was just, this little box and just a small strip between two houses. So,
wow.
That's the stuff that just is important. Now, when you're going in as a large, and buying several liens, it's just something that can be looked at, and you can get that information. And that's just a huge part of, it's like your final step before you enter those doors to go to the auction, in my opinion, is making sure that you have done that piece so that you can comfortably, one, compete, and two, know that if you've won something that's going to earn you something. Because what a great way to get discouraged and to be soured is to end up with a mailbox. That's not what you want to do your first time out, especially. So.
The name of the game, Carl, is preservation of capital. You could do things right 10, 20 times, and you do it once wrong, and you wiped out your gain from those 10 or 20 times you did it the right way. And even hedge funds, institutional funds, guys that do this, tens or hundreds of millions of dollars at a time, they still make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, but it's minimizing those mistakes and making them as least impactful to your investment strategy as possible. That is where you will be different from everybody else, right? The better you are at that, the better you will be at the investment strategy as a whole.